They wake up in a secret hideout inside a room with an ongoing live broadcast. To save their lives, they must reach 1 million views within an hour, or else their fate will be death. Our film begins with a young man waking up in a completely sealed room. The young man has no idea where he is or what he is doing there. He is extremely scared and continues searching for any exit, but he can't find a way out. The room contains only a bathroom and a shower, but there is no water to drink. Suddenly, the young man discovers a computer filming him. The computer asks him to give a command to start the live broadcast, and the young man agrees, even though he doesn't understand anything. The computer repeatedly says the word share, and the young man keeps entering commands into the computer, hoping to find an exit, but the computer doesn't respond to any command. Then, the young man realizes that he won't be able to do anything to escape. He gives the command share to the computer, and the live broadcast begins. The young man discovers that coins are being earned from the broadcast, which he can use to buy food and water. He continues asking about the people watching the broadcast but receives no response. The young man goes to use the bathroom but finds there is no water. He asks the computer for water, and it responds that he doesn't have enough coins, and that water costs 5 coins. The young man feels sad because he is thirsty and can't find water. Then he falls asleep in despair on the floor. After a while, he is surprised to find that he has earned enough coins to buy water, and he joyfully drinks it. The young man understands that he must entertain the audience and show his need in order to earn more coins. He starts dancing and doing strange moves in the room, gaining a lot of support from the viewers and collecting many coins. However, he still can't afford food because the coins aren't enough. The broadcast is turned off, and the young man continues typing commands on the computer. He manages to turn off the room lights and lies down on the floor to sleep. After a while, he wakes up to find that the computer has started the broadcast again, so he turns it on and starts talking to the audience. He goes to take a shower while naked, which attracts many coins. The young man feels happy and begins to buy food, but he is frustrated when he discovers that the food he got is dog food. The young man gets angry and starts yelling at the computer, but he eventually decides to eat the food since there is no other option. He sits in front of the computer and eats as dogs do, doing it to collect more coins from the viewers. He keeps trying and succeeds in gathering more coins, but when he wants to buy clothes, he discovers that he doesn't have enough coins. Suddenly, the coins disappear, and women's clothes appear on the computer, so the young man wears them and decides to perform shows in them for the broadcast. When it was time to sleep, the young man was exhausted. The next day, he decides to do everything he can to gather enough coins to survive. He starts dancing in front of his supporters and doing silly moves to attract more coins. Indeed, he earns many coins and is able to buy a new t-shirt. Over time, his balance increases day by day, and he starts being able to buy clean food, new clothes, and a neat place to sleep. He also buys cosmetics and other things. One day, the young man drinks a lot of alcohol and becomes furious, then begins hitting the computer screen. Suddenly, the electricity goes out in the entire place. The young man tries to check the food slot to see if it still works, but he discovers that everything has malfunctioned. He also tries to search for an exit in the computer, but he can't find any way to escape the room. The young man becomes extremely angry and reaches the peak of despair. He apologizes to the computer and asks it to reopen the broadcast, but it doesn't respond. He continues begging in front of the screen, but the computer stays off. The young man feels that he won't find food or any other way to survive, and then he falls asleep, deeply angry. After a while, the young man is surprised when the computer opens again. He discovers that there is an elderly person speaking to him through the computer. It turns out that the elderly person is in the same situation the young man is in, and he tells him that they have both been kidnapped. The elderly man explains that there are many people like them, and once the young man reaches a certain level in the broadcast, he will be able to talk to others. But the young man remains suspicious of the elderly man. As time passes, and the young man understands the elderly man's words, he realizes they are in the same situation. However, the young man begins to get bored of the elderly man because he talks too much. The young man discovers that the elderly man earns coins during the night through his long stories. At night, the young man sleeps, exhausted by the elderly man's talking, and wakes up to hear the elderly man coughing. The young man quickly wakes up and asks him about his health, to which the elderly man replies that he is fine. The The young man sits in front of the computer and enters different commands, discovering more about the people who are in the same situation, as well as the lessons the computer offers, such as drawing and cooking lessons. Each broadcast had a specific number that distinguished it from the others. The young man was in the broadcast with a beautiful girl who was doing yoga exercises. It was clear that he was attracted to her, so he continued to follow her every day and send her support. He and the old man met daily, and their relationship improved as they learned things from each other that they could use in content creation. However, one day, the old man told the young man that they couldn't continue like this. He said that if they kept going this way, they wouldn't find any supporters, and they needed to completely change their content to increase views. Indeed, they began changing the content, which brought them some interaction. One day, the young man was very ill, so he bought medicine, but while buying it, he accidentally entered another person's computer room on the same level. The girl was in the shower at 11 o'clock, and when he entered, she quickly covered her body with a towel. She thought he was the one who had kidnapped her, but the young man kept insisting that he had nothing to do with it, just like her. They brought the old man to confirm, and indeed, the girl was reassured that they were all in the same situation. She asked them if they had ever tried to escape from their rooms before, and they answered that they hadn't. The girl told them she would continue her research and search for a loophole in the system to try to find an exit. The young man told her what had happened when he tried to break the system. The girl explained that she would continue with her work no matter what. The old man got angry and told her to stop what she was doing, but she was determined to stand her ground. He warned them that they could all get hurt, but they didn't heed his advice, which made the old man furious. Of course, all of this was happening while the broadcast was inactive in front of the audience, and it was just a conversation between them. The young man told the girl that life there was much better than life outside, and he was trying to convince her that living in the room was better than going back to life, but the girl wasn't convinced by his words and was determined to find a way out. Days passed, and every day, the old man and the young man presented new shows on the broadcast, with the shows becoming of higher quality. Each of them added new things to their rooms, such as new beds and other items to improve their lives. But the girl's condition worsened day by day. She wanted to get out of the room by any means, unlike the old man and the young man, who loved the room and wanted to convince her to adapt to their new life. One day, the old man woke up coughing severely and collapsed from exhaustion. He tried to get up but hit the computer screen and had difficulty moving, resulting in complete paralysis. The young man and the girl tried to help him, and the young man asked the viewers to assist them in any way possible. The girl tried to help him by using commands and loopholes she had discovered on the computer, but she made a mistake. Instead of opening an exit for him, she accidentally ordered a fire to break out in the entire room. Everyone was shocked and the fire broke out and they saw the old man burning, with everything in the room being destroyed. They were in a state of shock and didn't know how to help him. They felt deep sadness and guilt, and due to what they had witnessed, they stopped broadcasting and didn't show any more conversations. A full week passed, and they continued to feel guilty for what had happened to the old man. None of them approached the computer, and they were content with just opening it. One day, the young man tried to ease the girl's feelings of guilt by offering her a doll game. It actually made her happy for a while, and she asked him to dance together and have a drink in their rooms in front of each other. The two of them continued dancing in front of the camera, both happy. The next day, the young man woke up and told the girl that he had agreed to the plan and that it was time to leave the place. But before they left, they had to communicate with the other people who were locked in with them. The young man started talking in the broadcast about the system in the rooms, and that sometimes the system malfunctions, which could pose a danger to their lives. He explained that all the kidnapped people must gather and try to hack the system. After a while, the yoga teacher contacted the young man and told him she liked what he said and supported his idea. She then went to her school to sleep and leave them. We noticed that several other people were also impressed by his words and supported him. The next day, the yoga teacher woke up and spoke to the young man, telling him that she didn't believe in the idea of leaving the rooms, and that what he was doing was pointless, like making people laugh. She asked why he was running away from his fate. The young man was confused by what she meant and didn't know whether she wanted to stay or leave the room. The girl asked him to practice yoga with her, and he agreed. But after a short while, the girl who wanted to escape the room entered during their practice and asked them to open the room or find a way to escape. In a short time, the girl managed to communicate with many of the other kidnapped people and discovered that their rooms were far apart from each other. She also gained access to commands that allowed her to control the ventilation systems and room walls. The girl decided to make a map of the place to remember all the rooms. After a while, the young man began to lose his enthusiasm for escaping, as he once had, and it seemed that the yoga teacher had convinced him to stay in the room. The young man asked the girl to stop what she was doing, insisting that the lives of some people in the rooms had brought them satisfaction, and some had even found a life completely different from the outside world. But the girl was angry because she had promised them that they would leave together. She cut her hair in front of the young man as a sign of her rebellion and told him she would continue to escape and not stay in the room, no matter what happened. At night, the yoga teacher was playing, which made it difficult for the girl trying to escape to sleep. The two of them started arguing, one wanting to practice and the other wanting to sleep, and the tension between them increased. The situation escalated to the point where the girl who was trying to escape told the yoga teacher that she was playing with the minds of the other captives because she didn't want them to escape the room. When the young man heard the argument, he tried to calm them down, but they didn't calm down. He then told them he would do something and opened the live broadcast, asking all the captives to send him coins. The number of captives was very large. As the coins began to flow in, they realized that the system had malfunctioned, which might allow them to control it and find their way out. But the yoga teacher called the young man a thief, saying he was trying to exploit people to gather coins. As the money began to accumulate, the yoga teacher's anger increased, and everyone started fighting. The girl wrote a command on the computer, causing the yoga teacher's room to fill with rain. But, unintentionally, she typed a completely wrong command, and flames began to ignite in her room, just like what had happened to the old man. The girl started burning in front of them and died from her burns. Her computer screen froze. The young man collapsed on the ground in shock, unable to believe what had happened. Suddenly, the door behind him opened, and this was the only exit. It turned out that the coins had caused a system glitch, just as expected, but the young man couldn't believe what was happening. However, he felt immense happiness because he had finally managed to escape. He approached the door and saw the sun rising. Then, he quickly returned to the computer screen to tell everyone that they had finally succeeded in carrying out their plan. But suddenly, the door that had opened closed again. The young man was in shock, as everything returned to the starting point. The film shows us many things we see every day on social media, such as how some people can abandon their principles for money or anything material that guarantees them survival.